It's early November, so of course we're talking about Christmas movies here with the king of all things Christmas movie, Alonso Duralde. You wanted to talk about, Alonso, the best Christmas pageant ever, which I had not heard of at all and was not on my radar. But then they had sneaks of it on Saturday night, and my theater was packed.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I went to see it at the Grove where like the premiere had just happened.
Oh.
Like there was a lot of signage and like people taking selfies and, you know, step and repeats and whatnot.
You ready for this? I'm gonna be in your Bible play.
This is gonna be a real disaster.
That's the spirit.
So this is based on the beloved novel by Barbara Robinson, which I remember reading as a kid and was previously turned into a 1983 TV movie with Loretta Swit and has been staged countless times at countless community theaters. It tells the story of a small town where the church puts on a big Christmas pageant every year. And one year that pageant is taken over by the Herdmans, who are this collection of like the worst kids in town. They smoke and they set fire to things and they steal stuff from kids, and they are generally considered to be a bad influence, but they come sweeping into church and they want to play Mary and Joseph and the wise men and all the good parts. And so, you know, the original story definitely has like a sort of real meaning of Christmas thing, because like the impoverished herdmans obviously relate to Mary and Joseph in their situation. And when I heard this was going to be made by the guy who did the TV show The Chosen, I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of those faith-based movies where the message drops like anvils, you know. Mm-hmm. To its credit, they don't do that. They trust the material and they let the stuff kind of emerge in a pretty organic and subtle way. A few moments here and there. They edit in, I guess, like nativity scenes from The Chosen into the nativity play, which is like, okay, calm down. But for the most part, this is pretty funny. Like Judy Greer can land a one-liner like nobody's business. She's the wife and mother who gets dragooned into directing the pageant when the regular director breaks her legs. Her husband is played by Pete Holmes, who's also pretty funny in this. The kids are really good, particularly Molly Belle Wright, who plays our protagonist, and her character as an adult is Lauren Graham, who narrates. And you know, this is a funny, charming family Christmas movie, and it works way better than I feared that it was going to. And you know, I think it does what it sets out to do. It is a charming period piece. It is very family friendly. Although I have to say, at the screening I was at, there's a scene with the Herdmans where they've clearly never heard the Christmas story before and start asking questions about why don't we beat up the innkeeper. And some lady in the row behind me and her kids like walked out at that point. I was like, ooh, is this too much for some audiences? I don't know. But yeah, I had a good time with this. What did you think?
Do they not realize it's going to be ultimately totally affirming of their faith?
You know, I always think about the two women behind me when I went to see Fantasia on stage in the Color Purple musical, who were horrified when the kiss came up. I'm like, it's the Color Purple, y'all. Did you not know it was coming?
Yeah. I was surprised by this too, especially because at least in our little, you know, pre-show thing, our early access pre-show thing, they had, you know, the guy from The Chosen, you know, Dallas Jenkins talking about everything that they did, and there was like some reference to a church-based charity that they're involved with the filmmaking, and like a bunch of folks in my theater were all like woohoo. So I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be like a very heavy churchy thing. It's a really tough needle to thread to make a movie that is faith-based and faith-affirming, but make it palatable to secular folks too. Like, I am super not Christian in any way, and I was actually moved by this, like, because the actress who plays Imogen, the eldest Herdman, Beatrice Schneider, is awesome. She is so good, and she finds like just the right tone, because she's got to be this like tough, bossy tomboy, and then to see her transformation as she is asking really smart questions about the story of the birth of Christ and the story of the nativity and all that. Like, they all ask really good questions, really thoughtful questions, and I'm like, they've got a point there. Like, why does that happen? That doesn't really make any sense. So I think like they are and bringing a healthy amount of skepticism and curiosity that like makes them good conduits for those of us who are not already on board.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're recording this review on Election Day 2024, and this movie includes a line from the original about how Jesus and Mary were refugees, which in the current political climate feels like practically progressive. This is also maybe the first faith-based movie I've ever seen where the bad guys are not atheists and the ACLU, but instead like snobby churchgoers who have completely missed the point of Jesus's actual teaching and like don't want to include the poor kids and you know are very like standoffish to people who actually need help, you know. So that I think is a way to sort of to bridge that gap. If you are a church-going person, it's a reminder to like, you know, actually follow the conscripts of the dude you're there to worship. And if you aren't a church-going person, it's a reminder that just because someone is a church-going person, it doesn't mean that they are necessarily like going to behave in a moral fashion.
Yeah, they get on the concept of charity and generosity here in a way that is not cloying at all.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed by the tone that they found. Yeah, this small town is so insular and so cliquey, and this group of moms has just ruled forever, and they want things the way they've always done them. And, you know, the fact that the Herdmans come in and just blow it all up and are, you know, literally and figuratively irreverent at first, and have some fun with it. And then you realize like why this speaks to them so much. And that's really shockingly moving and like legitimately so, and didn't feel heavy handed. It just felt very organic. And so I was surprised. But you know what? If you're staying up late to go to midnight mass or waiting for Santa, you might need some coffee from our friends at Coffee Brothers. They got the Kenya Peaberry back in. We can get 15% off for you for everything that they do. The holiday blend is coming. We will let you guys know. We will put you on high alert when the holiday blend is back in. But for now, they have, you know, light roasts and different kinds of espressos. It's all good stuff. And our code is breakfast15. We have it down there for you below. If not now, when? You know, get cozy. Put something cozy in it to make it a little sweet and tasty. So hang out with us, with our friends at Coffee Bros. Yeah, Judy Greer has a nice light touch with it. She and Pete Holmes have a nice way with each other. And they compared it in the pre-show thing to A Christmas Story, which is a super hard, high bar to reach.
Sure.
But I think it achieves that same kind of nostalgia. And it also reminded me of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. In that
the 70s detail.
It gets like, I mean, I think this is like early 80s, but it's a small town. So they're like behind the times in terms of decor and fashion. And so just in that the kids feel like real kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the church feels like a real place, and just the trouble they get into feels old fashioned and not ironic and not winking. It's very earnest, this film.
I mean, it is, but it's also funny. You know,
it is. No, totally. I laughed a lot. Yeah. So what is your number then?
I give it a 7.2. Far better than I expected. Far better than maybe it has any right to be. And I think that if you're on the fence, it might surprise you.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a movie that the whole family can go see, if you don't want to go see some big action spectacular, you want to something like kind of wholesome, kind of mainstream for everyone, this is a good choice. I will say a 7. Yeah. And I've never seen The Chosen. But
me neither.
You know, but this was, you know, I think the same production company that did Jesus Revolution, which was shockingly good too.
Yes. I think, you know, and I think the brothers who were behind Jesus Revolution are like executive producers here. So yeah, I mean, we may be seeing a new era of faith-based movies where they kind of realize that, like, you know, you and I are going to see them and have things to say about them. I don't know.
Production values.
Yeah, I mean,
hiring good actors.
They're trying. They are definitely trying. So, yeah, you know, give this a whirle.
It's out on Friday.